Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa baraka wa sallama tasliman kathiran ila yawmiddin amma ba'd. We're going to be, inshallah, reading about different traits of the believer so that we can benefit from this. Today we're going to speak about Hassad, envy. He describes it, he defines it, and then he tells us how to avoid it. Envy or Hassad is A, to desire the removal of a blessing of Allah from a person. When you feel like somebody has something, oh, why does he have it? Jealousy. When the blessing, when that blessing entails religious or worldly benefit for that person, yet no religious harm. So of course, if there's somebody who's getting involved in haram and wrong and harmful things, and you say, oh Allah, get rid of that from him, that's fine, because you don't want them to be involved in haram. But if it is not haram or wrong or harmful, and it's something of benefit in this world or the hereafter, and you don't want them to have it, it means you're jealous. So that's the first thing. Number two, he says, is to desire that such a blessing, so the person doesn't have it yet, but you desire that he never gets it. So you know that, for example, there's a certain position, or maybe somebody's wanting to do hifz of the Quran, or somebody wants to buy a house or get married to somebody, and your desire is that he shouldn't get it, just out of nafs, evil nafs. Number three, to be pleased with somebody else's envy without condemning that pleasure. So somebody else is jealous and you're happy that he's jealous. So all of this is harmful, and it's bad character to have this. Now sometimes what happens is that shaitan puts envy in our heart for someone or something. We didn't bring it on, but it comes in our heart from the shaitan. So if envy occurs to somebody's heart inadvertently, and immediately we condemn it, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, why do I feel like that for? Then by agreement of the scholars, there is no haram in this. Because as human beings, we get thoughts. Just like as human beings, as we're breathing people, we breathe. There's various different bacteria and viruses in the air, hopefully not any harmful ones, but we breathe them in. Unless there's lots of perfume around, So we, likewise, when it comes to the mind, the human being has a lot of pings, ping, 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 ping of different ideas. So if something like that comes, but immediately we learn to deflect it, then there's nothing wrong with that. If he does not condemn it, or if it occurs by choice, you bring it on, then by agreement it is unlawful envy, if he then acts accordingly to it, even if only a trace of it manifests in one's limbs. As long as it stays in the mind, it will only bother you. But as soon as you do something about it, you make a gesture, you point, you say something, you kick something, you do something, then you've expressed it as well. Then it's going to affect somebody else as well. Otherwise, if he does not act accordingly and no trace of it appears outwardly, then the only thing in his heart is the envy itself. Then scholars differ regarding its lawfulness and whether it is sinful. Imam Ghazali's opinion still is that it is still unlawful to harbor that kind of thought. So the companion Muawiyah radiallahu anhu said, I am able to satisfy any individual. So if there's anybody who has a need or issue, I've learned to satisfy them somehow or the other, except the envier. Which means if there's somebody who has Hassad of me, I can't ever satisfy him because his problem is my success. So unless I fail myself, I can't satisfy him. That's why it's a very, very bad disease. As nothing pleases him save the loss of the other person's blessing. In that light, it is from the sunnah, it says, that to hide one's blessings as much as possible so as to safeguard them from possessors of envy and their harm. Don't show off about everything. Because we might be showing off so that we become known or that somebody praise us, but within that, there's going to be somebody who's going to have hasad of us as well. The Prophet ﷺ said in a hadith that Imam Tabarani has transmitted in his Mu'jam al-Kabir, Mu'jam al-Awsat, and Mu'jam al-Saghir actually, seek aid in concealment. Like assist yourself through concealing things when fulfilling your needs. For indeed every possessor of a blessing is envied. Anything you have as a blessing, and we have multiple blessings, then try not to show off too much about them. Otherwise, there's going to be somebody who will have hasad, unfortunately. Based on that, one of the wise ones said, if you want to prove safe from an envier, then be vague and obscure regarding your affairs. Now, don't try to misrepresent necessarily, but don't be showing off about it. Imam Qushayri has mentioned this in his Risala. Imam Harrali defines envy as to merely be worried and uneasy when seeing another's blessings. Somebody else has a blessing. He got a new car, had a child, got married, become hafiz of the Quran, got a good job, has a lot of money, or whatever the case is. You become uneasy. Why does he have that? Why does he have that? Then that in itself is envy as well. Some egos are so possessed by envy that even hearing another praised weighs upon them. One must watch one's heart and reactions carefully, for envy lies at ambush on every path, even the spiritual path, that involves both a social collectivity and striving in excellence. Whenever envy appears, one must pop it up while it is small, by sincere sorrow and disgust at the sin and asking Allah's forgiveness and telling Him one does not accept this trait from one's nafs. Meaning, if I have envy, then I should tell Allah, Ya Allah, can you help me get rid of this? I don't agree with this. It's in my heart, but I don't agree with it. This must be repeated every time it occurs. If left, it will become a bigger abscess and finally a cancer. And when it's cancer, then sometimes, a lot of time, there's no stopping it. When one's thought revolves around nothing but the envied, so if you're always just thinking about, you're just burning with this person's success and the heart is on fire, then that's a really bad situation. It then requires much greater mujahada and effort to treat it by doing all the above, and in addition sincerely praying for the person whenever he comes to mind that Allah prosper him in this world as well as the next. The simple solution to this is that anytime you feel envious of somebody, straight away make dua for them. That's going to be very difficult though, because you've got envy for him and you're going to make dua, oh Allah, give him more. That's totally against what you're feeling, but that's the only antidote. And the thing is that, our envy makes no difference. Our jealousy only kills us, because unless you go and break whatever they have, but then you're going to get in big trouble. People like to stay safe. So it's just burning us inside. That's why one of the best antidotes is just, oh Allah, give him more. I know this is difficult for me, but oh Allah, give him more. Oh Allah, give him more. Oh Allah, give him success. And you will see that eventually you will have no problem, because it's just a thought in the mind. Eventually you'll be able to live by seeing the success and having your own success. Allah will give you things to be satisfied by yourself, that you don't have to worry about that. This will inshallah make life so much easier in families, in communities and so on. Otherwise there's brothers who envy brothers sometimes. There's wives of brothers who envy other brothers' wives. There's husbands of sisters who envy the other brother-in-law. Subhanallah. So Allah Ta'ala protect us. And Allah Ta'ala give us, especially during this Ramadan, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala give us cure from these things.